Yes, welcome back. And this is what is the date? 28th of December. Yeah, very close to the new year. Probably a lot of us are setting new goals. I hope if this year has been tough for you, if you have struggled this year, if you had problems this year, if you had been through a lot this year, I hope next year will be better for you. I hope next year you live a more fulfilled life and it's less painful than this year. If it was painful indeed, and if it was a good year, then that's great. Yeah. And today's topic is about how useful are these self-improvement videos. And to be honest, it really depends. The type of content that you watch. It really depends on how you implement them and how you use them. So first of all, most of the self-improvement content are only aimed for giving you a direction. My videos are kind of the same as well. I mean, my videos are also not as like deep knowledge that you can get from a book. I mean, watching a 10-minute video of mine will not teach you as much. It can't teach you as much as a self-improvement book dedicated to a topic. I mean, it's basically those books, basically, they have 340 pages, for example, dedicated to a single topic. And if you cannot compare that, even if you watch a 1 hour video self-improvement topic, it's not comparable to a book that is written on that topic. So books are much more valuable than the videos that you watch. So let's first get that straight. Videos are mostly aimed to give you a direction. And secondly, the videos that you watch are just new information that are being presented to your brain. And for this new information to be actually useful for you, you have to implement this. You have to implement the things that you learn from these videos. And this is where it might get a bit tricky, let's say. Because you can go through a phase where you're watching a lot of self-improvement videos and you're thinking yourself like, oh, I'm improving. I'm trying to change my life. But you're not implementing any of the tips that you learn from these videos. And that is not a good place to be. I mean, it's a phase that most people go through. I mean, you most likely have to go through these phases in order to actually get to the next phase. And it might be a long phase as well, because this changing your life thing is not simple. It's not simple. It might take years. I mean, I've been on this shit for 1.5 years right now. How long have I started this? Around 1.5 into 2 years. And I'm still not at the place that I imagined myself to be in a couple of years. It's still not the place that I want to be at. I mean, I've progressed a lot, but I'm still growing, and I will grow in the future as well. It's not really easy to reach your imaginary self, which is like your what was that word? I mean, that was a word for this. I will write that as a text in this video because I couldn't remember it. Ideal self. Oh my god, how can't I remember that? Yep. And that phase where you watch a lot of self-improvement videos and not implement any of the content that you consume is a phase, and you might be going through that phase right now. And as soon as I noticed this, I stopped watching self-improvement videos for a while and actually focused on what I learned and how can I implement these to my life. So the content that you watch is not going to save you. It's only going to show you a direction. Now, me talking to you, I'm not saving you. I'm only giving you my experiences. I'm showing you a direction. I'm giving you some knowledge so that you can learn some more. I hope I can teach you something at least. And then the path will be taken by you. I'm not going to save you. I'm going to show you a direction. I'm showing you a direction. I'm showing you other options. I'm showing you some other knowledge. But implementing them is crucial for progress. So if you're finding yourself, and I still at this point, even if I'm like trying to implement all of the things I learn, I still find myself getting in that phase again from time to time where I watch the content, but I don't implement it. So why do I watch this content if I'm not going to use it in my life? As a general knowledge so that I can talk and brag about it to the people? No, that is not a good thing to do. If you're not going to implement it, you shouldn't watch these content. So if you find yourself in that position right now where you're watching, consuming these content and not implementing it, just stop for a second and stop watching them. Just try to implement the things that you learned from the things that you already watched. Of course, you might not be able to implement all of them, but implementing only a couple crucial things can make a really big difference. Only a couple crucial things can make a really big difference. And the third thing that I also want to mention is, again, I mentioned it in the beginning of the video, you cannot exchange books with these videos or podcasts, in my opinion. Because whenever I read, I notice that the self-improvement content on YouTube, I mean, most of them are very surface level knowledge, let's say. The deep understanding comes from a more detailed explanation, a more dedicated explanation, and that comes from the books, like I said. Imagine like a 340 pages of knowledge only dedicated to the topic. I mean, that's a much greater, much valuable knowledge to obtain. So I usually tend to do this as well because I mean, I like reading, but when it comes to finding time to read, I kind of struggle. I mean, I struggle to prioritize reading over some other things that I want to do. Of course, I could read like 20 pages every day, but still at some days, I can't manage to prioritize it. And this is something that I need to improve on, because reading is so strong of a habit is that you cannot replace it with anything else. Of course, it's the same with the self-improvement videos thing as well. If you're reading something, you have to try to use it in your life, or at least try to link the things that you learn with the events that happen in your life so that they have a more meaningful thing. Because if you read a book, you learn a new knowledge, you learn a new mentality, for example, or maybe something like knowledge. It doesn't have to be like a mentality or anything. If you learn something, even if you can't implement it to your life, I mean, you might not be able to use that knowledge directly, but try to link it with a scenario that you have been through in your life, or someone in your life. Try to link it to something that is relevant in your life. Try to link it with yourself so that you actually understand and it takes a place in your brain so that you do not forget that thing. Yep. So, self-improvement content is useful as long as you make them. If you do not make them useful, they are just coming from this ear and then leaving from this ear, and they don't mean anything. And it leads you to a state in which we call productive procrastination. So you think you're doing something valuable, but you're just coping. You're not doing anything valuable while watching self-improvement content, if you're not implementing afterwards what you learned. Sorry, I'm a little bit sick. Yeah, and that's all for today. Sorry for not being able to record this week because it has been a very busy week with exams and stuff. I have not been able to sleep that much, and my mind was like kind of fucked, let's say. And yeah, thank you for watching and listening, and I wish you a more pleasant year this year. I hope everything that you aim for, you obtain this year, and I hope this year you will struggle less and gain more. Thank you so much.